What's up, guys? It's Jim with AwakenedTCG, bringing you our weekly locals video. This week, Sabo ended up winning the poll. We actually ended up going 2-1, getting to the final match. Was going to go 4, but the down pair lost, so finalist Sabo did us pretty good. Honestly, think this is a really great leader, and today we actually have Vampire Gaming as our special guest that's going to help explain this deck list for you guys.
Excited to be here. If you haven't heard of me, I am a YouTuber. I create a lot of One Piece content here with emphasis on Ace. That's kind of like my deck specialty. But yeah, of course, Sabo inheriting the Flame fruit. I, of course, have been playing around with him because I think he's just definitely underrated and underappreciated because the ability is just really strong. And then, of course, all the black cards right now are just busted. So just having that synergy with him is just amazing.
Yeah, no doubt about that, and that is why we mainly run black in this deck. But first up, let's go over our first card here. We've got Brand New. As we are running mainly black, we do run mostly navy cards. KO effects, cost reduction, you name it. Basically, yeah, gonna be the best searcher. Also great at building trash for Lucci, as this isn't a Sakazuki deck that can just build trash every turn. This guy's gonna be pretty necessary if you want to get those early Luccis off. But yeah, pretty much a no-brainer in this deck.
Yeah, definitely. Brand new is the heart and soul, truthfully. Just that the trash load up is huge because like we can't discard a card every single turn like other decks that get to do it for free. So yeah, that just especially if you're going second, you go turn two brand new and just load that up and you could set up a Lucci potentially against like Law or anything else. It really matters.
For sure, for sure. And next up here, a bit of a kind of interesting pick. I was like debating going 2 to 4. You could probably do 2 to 4. There's gonna be four of Kuzan. Um, so this guy, I just really like him in this deck because his main issue in any deck he's played in, Sakazuki, right, what have you, basically he always gets removed. Like against Purple Luffy, he's getting polyed. Against Sakazuki, he's getting removed by anything under the sun. This is one of the only leaders that can consistently keep this strong card on board. And even if they do have the bottom deck, say in like a Crocodile or a Sakazuki, um, you still got the draw off. So you traded 1 for 1, right? You didn't actually lose any value there.
Yeah, it's a big like I think that's the most underrated part of Kuzan obviously is like when you of course like play cards that replace themselves, it's a huge value. But then also again, because like our leader doesn't inherently minus characters for free, being able to have a swinger that does minuses and a big minus definitely matters. But yeah, that draw one also definitely helps again if you're going second, like perfect curve, you go like brand new, go Kuzan, and if you're lucky, he sticks around and then he's gonna be very sticky.
Yeah, unfortunately though, if you do play that on curve, you cannot attach to leader, which matters sometimes, but not all the time.
It does. Yeah, no. That's and kind of like one of the cards, it's like, oh, like deep down in my heart, I'm like, I want to play like Haruta or the one drop Nami, just because like then you could still, and like that's just huge value. But yeah. But even then, against Sakazuki, not as strong, but most other decks, turn two Kuzan still pretty strong. And if they use removal, it's just less cards that they have.
Exactly. Next up, let's get into our first blocker here. We have 4 cost Borsalino. You see a black deck, you see this card. I mean, kind of a no-brainer. Double layered protection, right? You can't get KO'd by effects in the first place, and then even if if they ended up blocking with them or whatever else, or just attacking into them, you can kind of just negate. If you don't know, blockers in this deck are really good. If they don't have enough swings, and you have a blocker on board, it's kind of just like a free block. You don't need any cards out of hand. That's one of the really good things about this leader.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the most underrated thing. And it really like one of the things when I was playing Sabo is I went into time a lot just because like if I honestly in a perfect world, I want to have like Borsalino and then another blocker, just two. I mean, they're 4/6s. So when you block it, you use the effect. They're still 5. So they don't get to swing on it like efficiently still even after you save it, so like it almost has no value to swing into it. But yeah, you can use it for like the last block, and then also like cards like
Mm,
9 Kaido. Like I've had Luffy have like 2 cards, like just the leader swing and the 9 Kaido, and then like I would just block the 9 Kaido for free, and so I was essentially stopping a
yep.
10 swing for nothing, and that's just huge value on your hand. And then just really it helps out the hand too, just not having to counter all the time.
Also, an underrated attacker in a lot of instances as well.
Oh yeah, I actually in one of my videos I had double Borsalino, and then I like mathematically won if I just swung perfectly, just because I had those Borsalinos.
Yep, fantastic card, and I think a much needed 4 of staple in this deck. Next up here, we've got 4 Rebecca blockers, and tacking on here, I'm just going to throw in, we have the 3 Hina 3/5s as well. I'm sure if you played against Sakazuki, you know how this combo works by now. But if you don't, Rebecca can grab a 3 to 7 black from the trash and then play a 3 cost or lower black character. Hina is perfect for that, as you get a 5k body, which works amazing with your leader if you have that 1 Dawn attached. This Hina has protection from leader, as well as doing the -4 on play while developing a blocker. It's just a no-brainer combo in this deck. Really, really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like that whole combo is what makes the deck good, arguably. And like when I first thought about it, I was like, this is because it's just the loop is just so powerful, regenerating cards, but then also being able to like clear board and establishing a blocker is just completely underrated altogether. Honestly, it's not, but it's underrated in Sabo. But
Yeah,
like
no, for
obviously,
sure.
like it's powerful in Sakazuki, slightly less powerful for us, but still, just I mean, it does work. That's why like Lulucci saw success, and it just that's why we play the main black package.
Exactly. And next up here, we've got 2 5-cost Sabos. This guy, just a bigger blocker, right? Against decks like NL, he's going to be your only blocker that's immune to Amaru. So really vital there. Also, just adding more blockers in this deck that we can just kind of rest, take a big swing and then use leader effect. Because blockers in this leader are just really vital. So Sabo being one of those, not much to say there.
Yeah, no, and again, that 6K stat line really just matters because if they swing into it, they either like if they swing 6, you can discard one, but if they swing 8, you just -1, and then typically they would have wasted a swing. You got to keep your character, and then they still have to swing on it at 5, and so it's still
Yep.
like if they just swing 5, it's a 1-cost counter. Another thing, also like in terms of blockers, Hina. I'm not a fan, but I see the vision because again, 5/6, it's got that stat line, it's got the combo, and it effectively stops 2 attacks
Mm-hmm.
on block and can save itself. So it can provide a ton of value. So I know that's another blocker of choice that people have been opting for.
Yeah, I was debating throwing in 1 or 2. It's probably Sabo being. It's probably the only deck in the game that can run Hina and have it make sense, but opted not to. But you'll see towards the end, there's a couple cards I'm probably considering removing, so she can maybe slot in there. Next up, let's go over our KO effects. So first up, we have 2 of 3 cost Kobe. So this guy, I honestly just added because I felt like with all the cost reduction I did not have enough KO effects. And I ended up on Kobe rather than something like a 6-cost Sakazuki, just because not only can you play it off the blocker Rebecca, which is not the main reason we play it, it has that 1k counter, which is really important in a lot of scenarios. This could be swapped out for maybe like the 4-cost Kobe. Me and Vamp were talking about it for a bit, just because you don't have a discard a card, and discarding cards in this deck is kind of bad. You kind of run low on hand size. But, he's flexible, and I just like how cheap he is a lot of the time, so that's mainly why I added him.
For sure, yeah. When I was playing Sabo, I was actually had only played like outside of Lucci, I was playing 3 Garb. And so I wasn't playing any Kobe, and I was like, the biggest thing was I was like, okay, I was like, there would be instances where I'd have a ton of minus, but nothing I could really do with it. And there isn't a ton of synergy between black and red, which again is kind of why we just lean
Mm-hmm.
towards the black side. But no, yeah, absolutely. I think Kobe's a good call. Just like any kind of removal, like I considered Sakazuki as well. As much as I don't like it, but he's a 6'7", and he can pretty much KO anything if you do it right. So I was like, he's not bad, and the body matters. But yeah, the Kobe, and I also again I like the 1K one, just because you can rest him, and then if you have that blocker, you do get that free block. and so you could potentially keep him around for more than one turn
Hmm.
and repeatedly use that effect. But yeah, I think just you do need the KO effects.
Yeah, if you're gonna run a lot of cost reduction, right, you have to have KO effects to back it up. Because if you don't draw into them, you kind of just have these cost reducers for nothing. Next up here, though, we've got 4 of Rob Lucci. I think everybody knows how strong this card is by now. KOing a 2 and a 1 at the cost of only putting 3 of your cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck is sometimes not even a cost. It honestly only means like you can't play this guy early, unless you have brand new, of course, which is what we are looking for. Brand new into Lucci is a really good turn 2, turn 1, turn 2. But just one of your only guys that can kind of like board wipe if you have enough cost minus effects. But mainly good, at least in my experience, against decks with low cost cards. So Zoro, Law, what have you. Mainly running it for those. One of the best KO effects in black, though, no doubt.
Yeah, card's busted.
No doubt there. Next up here, we've got the star of the deck. We got 4 of 5 cost Garp. I love this card, and this is honestly the main reason I was really excited to play this deck, because I always thought this guy was cool. But in my experience playing black the past sets, he just never really fit for me. I never really felt like I should play him. This one, though, he makes sense in. Any deck that's not blue, when you have a Dawn attached to leader, this guy is basically giving you a KO for free every turn at the cost of discarding 1 card. And in this situation where you can go for game, he's a 6k body and you could just swing with him. Really strong card, and repeating KO effects on a body that is like unremovable in a lot of matchups is just crazy.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing to do with Garp is sometimes, like, depending on how if they have a character, if I don't want to load up their hand, I'll also like swing at their character to try to get the cards out of their hand, and then I'll Garp it
Right.
afterwards and just get rid of it. Like, you just gave me cards for free. And so yeah, that's one of my favorite things. And also like Garp swings, because like you can use it to keep their board clear, but if they have like a tapped character, because hand does matter and sometimes it does get expensive with all the discarding,
Mm-hmm.
you can just like attach possibly like 2 Dawn and swing like 8 into 6. I usually use my other swings into a character first, because again, you can just rest the Garp to rely on it. But yeah, if anything, sometimes I'll just attach Dawn and swing him to clear too.
Yep. And next up here, let's go over our 2Ks. Probably going to go over these fairly quick. We've got 4 of 1 cost Suru. Just, it's your black Otama, right? For 1, you can -2 cost. Also a card that can be played off Rebecca occasionally if you don't have the Hina. But kind of a no-brainer 2K in black decks. And we have the 4 of Tashigi. Grabbable off of Rebecca when she grabs from trash. Say if you already have a Hina in hand or you just need more 2Ks. Great card there. Also really good on board if you have a ton of blockers up. It's hard to remove if you are not, Sakazuki or whatever else. Just a good 2K there. And then the one that's a bit interesting here that we might want to talk about for a bit is 3 of Bartolomeo. So I don't have a ton of blockers in this deck. I have 2 Sabos, 4 Borsas, 4 Rebecca. I felt like that was a bit too small, so adding a blocker and a 2K at the same time that can also be grabbed off Rebecca just seemed like a good slot in for me.
No, yeah, I when you showed me your list, I found this super interesting because I was playing essentially in that 2K spot. I was playing Brooke, the one that when you on play you attach 2 Dawn and he costs 2 Dawn. But I totally see the vision on Bart, just because like you can Rebecca add back a Bart and then play Bart, and you can get 2 blockers, and so that can definitely matter. So I found that interesting. I was also playing, I think the 2 that I've experimented with was Koala, the Revolutionary Army, because I was like, I really want Ace. I was like, minusing characters by 3K is just so powerful, like on play. And so I was like, Koala's like pseudo that. I didn't ever see in a scenario where I really wanted to play Koala, but Koala, Brooke, Bart, I think are all solid like 2K spot choices.
Yeah, 2Ks are probably the most like interchangeable. Only really grabbing Bart just for the ability to grab off Rebecca is really good.
That's yeah. And not only grab, but you can play. You can
Exactly. Yeah.
play.
It
So
is
like,
rested, but if you're not losing that turn, they need to attack into it if they don't want you to have an extra blocker.
yeah.
And next up here, we have a one of Mancherry. This was one of the last additions to the deck that me and Vampire talked about, but I honestly think it's a good addition just as a one of. In the late game, there's a lot of times where you either need an extra blocker from trash, maybe you need an extra KO effect. This is a way to get it, right? It searches your whole trash for anything from 3 to 5 that is black. So you can grab your Garp, you can grab Rebecca, another Borsalino. You can grab a Kobe if you say you need a cheap KO effect. Just really versatile and really good in the late game when you get in those grindy games that last a while, and you need certain cards to end it out.
Absolutely, yeah. Because whenever I was playing Sakazuki, I found myself I felt a slight gap if they played Manchuri, and I was like, I really wish I had this. I do think like I think one's correct. Two is kind of, but like it's like nice if you see it, but it's definitely not necessary. But it does
Mm-hmm.
come up, and you just create your own luck by allowing yourself to draw it with the one of. And I'm a big fan of one ofs, but yeah, being able to add back pretty much anything like the Garp, Lucci, any kind of removal, a blocker, the Kobe, definitely comes up. And if you have that blocker, again, going back to like if you're not playing against red and they only have one swing and you're getting that free block no matter what, you can potentially continue to generate value off of the Mancherry
Mm-hmm.
by getting 1, 2, 3 cards, kind of like how Sakazuki can if Mancherry gets to stick around. Like you have to find a solution for the Mancherry once they play it, otherwise they're going to get a ton of value back.
Yep, exactly. Next up here, we have probably the card I'm most on the fence about. Also, the only red card in the entire deck. It's going to be 3 of Chaka. For those of you that don't know what this card does, I'll have it up on screen. But basically, it's a 5/6 with 1k counter, and when you attach 1 to it, you can just activate main, and you can attach 2 Rested Dawn to one of your leader characters. So kind of like a super 1-cost Nami. If you guys, I'm sure if you've seen Sabo list before, a lot of them run that 1-cost Nami. I'm not a big fan of that card just because it is so easily removable by like every good deck in the game.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
right, and if say you have like guys on board like Kuzan Borsa, and they're just like, oh, I can't KO these anyway, so might as well KO the Nami. They're always getting rid of it. That card like never lasts. This guy though is a Nami with a 6k stat line that could be protected by leader. So that is the thought process behind it. But honestly, in my experience, it's kind of a win more card. 5 Dawn is really expensive to do nothing basically. Sure, if you can get it on board a turn and kind of like sneak by, and if this guy sticks, like he does generate you value throughout the game. But honestly, he's a little too slow, realistically.
Yeah, I like in my build how I like it is I essentially the only red cards I played was the 2K, and then I was playing rushers just because like
Mm-hmm.
those are so strong. Like red rushers are so strong, but specifically for the 5/6 unblockable Luffy, because unblockable Luffy steals games. There's so many times where it's just like, oh, you went to 0, 11, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's it. And you can just steal games, and it's super powerful, especially like even if you're playing Newgate, because Newgate doesn't play removal, or at least most don't. You just slap that 5 cost Luffy and then wait for them to go to 0. They can be like, wow, 16.
Yeah, I mean, there's totally a ton of scenarios where I played this deck where I'm like, yeah, if I had the Luffy right now, I'd probably win. So instead of this guy, I would probably put in a Luffy, maybe 2 Luffys, 1 Hina blocker. I'd have to check the ratios there, but definitely a flex slot for me right now. Next up here, we've got into our events. We've got 3 up, Great Eruption, and 1 of Ice Age. So one of our main cost reduction in the deck, as the only other cost reduction we have are our 2Ks, Hina, and our Kuzan, obviously. These ones, the Great Eruption specifically, get a cycle while minusing 2. Just a really great card. You can even just use it early game with no target if you need to get more cards or search for cards. It's just a cycle for 1. It's not bad. And then the Ice Age for bigger targets that say you don't have the reduction for, if you don't have a Kuzan on board or you don't have the Hina combo ready, Ice Age is there for you. Definitely more than a one of. I'd be a little bit hesitant to do, but I like it at one of, and I like the Great Eruption at 3.
I love it as at a one of, because just two, like again, we don't have any way to cycle cards. So like if a card's in our hand, like yeah, it becomes a discard target, but like it's still not phenomenal. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Ice Age at one. It comes up, I've seen it, and it changes the tides of games. It can win games, but like you don't always need it, and you definitely don't want to see two like ever.
Absolutely not. Yes, you see two of those in hand, especially with no KO effects. It's like, oh god, this game is over.
Yep. Ogre. It's ogre.
It's all ogre. Speaking of all ogre, that is the deck list. Thank you guys for checking this out, and please, if you can, go to Vampire TC or Vampire Gaming on YouTube right now. Shoot him a sub, and maybe check out his Sabo deck list.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. Honored to be here, Jim. Thank you so much. A huge shout out to AwakenedTCG for having me. But yeah, definitely check me out, Vampire Gaming on YouTube. Tons of Ace content, tons of just like overall nice One Piece stuff.
Please shoot him a sub, but anyway, let's get right into the gameplay. And getting into game one here, we are going against a Roanoa Zoro. Actually, do not have a ton of experience with this matchup, as I honestly have never encountered it yet. But I assume it basically is just coming down to how many blockers you see. Even with Rush Luffy, I think if you can preserve life early and just put blockers up, you can kind of get free blocks against this deck, and you might be able to overwhelm it, especially with stuff like Lucci, which can get rid of board and stuff like that. Probably favoring Sabo, if I had to guess. But he's actually even played the Dawn on his 3 Dawn turn here, and with getting, I think, a Zoro, Luffy, and a couple of vents there. So pretty unfortunate, and he'll just go 6 with his remaining Dawn, and I will take that going down to 3. So now on 4 Dawn here, we're just going to go 5 lead. He will take that, no trigger, and we'll pay 4, getting Kuzan on board, and drawing 1, losing no card advantage there. And getting a really good body that can be removed by this deck if they do have something like Jet Pistol, but if he does end up using that, it's honestly worth it as I'm not losing any cards here. He's going to go ahead and play Nami, grab the 5-cost Rush Luffy. Can not play it this turn, but now we do know it's in his hand, so we do have to be conscious of our life here. But he's going to go ahead and play Brook, attach those 2 rested Dawn to his Dawn, swing 6, we'll give him a 2k, and he will swing another 6 with Leader. Looking through the hand, thinking of the best cards to get rid of, we're going to go ahead and give him another 2k to Shigi, countering out of both of those attacks. And now with actually a pretty menacing board, if we don't have a Rob Lucci here, this could kind of be a problem. We're going to swing 5 at Kuzan to the Dawn, play a brand new to grab a 2k and actually build the trash at the same time, as we did not have 3 in trash for this card right here, Rob Lucci. After swinging 5, he will counter out, and we'll play that Rob Lucci, getting rid of Brook and Nami, which that brand new actually enabled us to do. So that's why brand new early is really important in this deck, guys, because if you do not build trash, the Lucis will just not be online until later in the game. Fortunately, we did see the brand new, so we could do it here. And now on 7 Dawn, he's actually going to play the Luffy and attach 1 to Leader. He'll go 6 at Kuzan. We'll just give him a 2k, and he will now go 7 at Kuzan. Probably want to counter this out. We're going to give him a 2k and a 1k, as we do need Kuzan to efficiently remove this Luffy right now, as we don't really have a lot of cost reduction in hand. But we're going to go ahead and play another brand new here. Grab the Garp, trashing a Rebecca and another 2k. Now going to swing 5 at lead, minusing 4 to the Luffy, kind of showing him that I do have the removal, or else I probably would have swung at his Luffy directly. I'm going to go 6 to lead. He'll give me a 2k. Going to go another 6 to lead. He'll give me another 2k. And we will use Garp to KO the Luffy now that it is at 1 cost, trashing another Garp out of hand. And as you saw there, we did attach the Dawn to Leader. So with 2 swings right now, and one of them being a Makino, he actually can't really get rid of my board here, which is really rough for him. And one of the best parts about Sabo, especially when you can remove their board, you make their only swing being Leader swing basically pointless. And in that case, they will go lead, which means if you do have a blocker up, it's going to be really rough to get through here. But he's actually just going to play Sanchi and swing the rest to lead, because unfortunately he doesn't really have a lot of great plays in hand. But I'm actually explaining the Leader effect to him here. As a lot of people don't know what Sabo does, I think he actually wanted to swing at the Kuzan first, but I said, yeah, you do not want to do that. So he's going to go lead. We're going to take that one now up to 10 with a fantastic board. Thinking how to play this one out, we're just going to play the Great Eruption to cycle it out. Give one to Sanji. We just want as much counter in hand as possible. We don't want any rush shenanigans or anything like that. He does have 3 Dawn up in that Red Hawk here. So he can KO a brand new if he did want to. If I did want to go for game here or something like that, that could definitely prevent it. But we're just going to go 5 lead. He'll take that, actually. Going down to 2. Now just going another 5. Going to check the counter in hand. He'll give us a 1k Magura. And thinking what to do here, I could try to go for game, but it's probably not worth it. We'll just go 7 to lead, play safe with Lucci. He'll give us that Red Hawk and end up KOing the other brand new that we did not swing with, which kind of works out for us. We're going to use the Garp KO the Sanji. We just do not want him to have enough attacks to beat us, as we do not have a lot of counter in hand. And we'll go 6 lead, just attaching that Dawn to leader and putting leader online. And now doing 5 Dawn here. We're actually going to probably put down the Sabo. Oh, he actually got a trigger from the Jet Pistol. Going to KO the Garp there. And going to put down the Sabo and make it so our board cannot be KO'd by another Jet Pistol here. Because that would be one of the only ways to win this turn. You would have to have like a Jet Pistol plus Rusher, and I would have to have no counter hand. But even then, he's in a really rough spot here. Going to attach 5 to Makino, I think, putting her up to 6. Thinking about just how to swing here. Yeah, he'll swing 6 with her. We'll just give him an easy 2k. And then he'll put the rest here, leaving 2 up, swinging 8. And we'll just give him the block and activate leader effect. For the first time in the game, Sabo now going down to 5k and surviving that swing, which makes, when your opponent has minimal swings and you have blockers up, that's just why blockers are so good in this deck. We're going to attach 2 Dawn to Sabo and Lucci, avoiding another trigger from a Jet Pistol. We'll go 7 with Kuzan, and he will use the plus 3k for 0. We'll go another 7 he'll take, and the rest on Sabo. That is going to be a wrap. Decent game there. Honestly, our opponent bit inexperienced, especially against Sabo. And honestly, I think it might be a favorable matchup for Sabo. I'd have to test it a bit more, though. And getting into game 2 here, we are going against Red and Purple Luffy. Another very interesting matchup for Sabo, which I think might not be too bad, as you already want to attach 1 Dawn to leader every turn if you can, which makes you just, you'll be able to do the 6k swings regardless. So, good, there as far as the matchup goes, but for the rest, honestly, this is probably a winning matchup for Sabo, because as a person that plays Red Purple Luffy myself, I know you just don't have a lot of characters on board at once. Like, you'll play a 10-cost Luffy, and then you only have that and leader swing. And Sabo, with blockers on board, will eat up decks that do not have enough swings. Like, if he only has 10-cost Luffy and leader, I'm going to counter out of one and then get a free block out of the other one every single turn. So, fortunately, going second here, we're actually going to get the brand new on 2. Looking at the hand, we're going to grab the 2k Tashigi as we are lacking it. Not grabbing the Garp, probably already had one. Luffy now on 3 Dawn here. Not a ton of great plays, as this deck does not usually have on 3 Dawn unless you have the Zoro Jiro. Going to go 9. Yeah, no brainer there. We're going to end up taking that one. Now with a ton of cards in hand and 4 Dawn, we're just going to go ahead and play Kuzan, start setting up, as Red Purple Luffy doesn't usually run a ton of removal, if any, really. In my deck specifically, I think I only really like Whitebeard. 9-cost Whitebeard is my only removal, so Kuzan is probably the best card in this matchup. But he's going to go ahead and attach 1 to lead and swing 7. We will counter out of that, going up to 8. Now with 5 cards in hand, if he did have a 4-cost Law, we are out of the range of that. But he's going to go ahead and play a Rush Zoro and swing 6. So we're going to give him another 2 there, knowing that we can remove the Zoro. If we do get a blocker on board here soon, this is going to be a breeze of a game. We're going to swing 5 at the Zoro, minusing it by 4. Kind of baiting him here, because I wanted to play the Garp to get rid of it. But yeah, he's actually not going to take the bait. Great play by him there. We're going to go 7 lead. He'll give us a 2. And instead of the Garp, we will actually just play the Borsalino, as he only has leader swing, so we will ensure if he doesn't have a rusher, we can basically block for free. And now on him, on 7 Dawn, going to go ahead and tap 1 for the Nami. Looking at the top 5 here, fortunately I do not think he has any ramp to get to 8 this turn, so that's pretty good for us. Gonna grab the Rush Luffy. Yeah, running a lot more of a rush build than a ramp build, it seems. Which is good in its own right, but definitely probably a little bit worse against us, as we can just remove those bodies pretty easily. Now, with 6 Dawn remaining, he's gonna spend 4 for that John Bart. He actually does have the ramp. Gonna go up to 8 here. And it just attached 2 to lead. He could use leader effect, but it really, I mean, it didn't matter. Unless he wanted to keep 1 Dawn up, we're just going to do the block with Borsalino and get that free block, making him go down to 5k. And now on us on 8 Dawn. He has a not amazing board, and we do have removal. So if he does have 10 Luffy next turn, it might be a little annoying, but not that big a deal as long as we have that Borsalino on board, as I was saying earlier. We're going to go ahead and go 6 lead, -4 to the John Bart. Just kind of checking the hand for counter. He's actually going to take that, and he's going to get that trigger. I think it's like Pirates Fight on the Sea or something like that. Search top 5 for a Heart Pirates, Kid Pirates, or Straw Hat Pirates, and he's going to get that Zoro Jiro. A bit late for that, but I'm pretty sure that was his only target. We'll swing 7 lead. He'll give us a 2k, and we'll just play the Garp. KO the John Bart, trashing another Garp from hand. So now again, with only leader swing and a miniature Nami swing and a blocker on board, there's pretty much no way he can get rid of any of the cards on our board. And that's what is so good about this leader. When you can get rid of your opponent's board and have a great board of your own, you kind of just have this overwhelming advantage that is really, really hard to overcome for most decks, unless you are blue and you can just kind of bottom deck cards. But anyway, he's going to go 6 with lead. We'll give him an easy 2k. He will spend 5 for a Rush Luffy, probably the one that he ended up grabbing earlier. He'll go 2, and he'll swing 8 to leader unblockable, knowing that if he did swing at one of my characters, it would just be pointless, as Sabo leader effect would be activated. He's actually going to just attach the rest 3 to Nami, as he can't really do much with it, hoping I will misplay and not block. But we just end up blocking it with Borsalino. Now on 10 Dawn here. Probably going to end up removing the Luffy and Nami if we can help it. Could go for game, but might not be worth it. We'll swing 3 at the Nami with brand new. No use in saving that, so he'll just end up giving it to us. Going to put 1 on Kuzan here, swing 6 at lead, and a -4 to the Luffy. Luffy now at 1 cost. We'll just use Garp. KO it, trashing a brand new from hand, and clearing his board completely. We're going to play that Chaka for the first time of today, attaching 1 to him and 2 to leader, giving us a +1 Dawn advantage there. And we will attach another 1 to Sabo, swinging 8 at leader. He'll need a 2 and a 1 for that, but he will end up just taking it. And we're going to replace the brandy we swung with for a Man Cherry, putting 2 to the bottom and grabbing 1 from the trash, which is really good in the late games a lot of the time, because they already can't deal with your board. You'll have blockers, and you just throw down the Man Cherry and you can kind of repeat cycle it. But we're going to grab that 2k Chigi with it, just grabbing as much counter in hand as we possibly can. And now in another situation, right, where he only has 1 swing and we have a blocker out. This deck with basically no removal cannot do anything against this board state, which is why I think Sabo probably wins this matchup. Not looking like he's drawing into any of his larger cost cards, like a 10 cost Luffy or a 9 cost Newgate, unfortunately for him. Probably going to want to blocker up here if he can help it, but even then, I could just turn Garp sideways and KO it for free, so even that might not be the right play. But he's going to go ahead and go 8 at leader. Well, thinking about it here, knowing that if he has a rusher, it might be detrimental for us. But truly, even if he did have a rusher, might not be worth it. Yeah, he's actually going to swing at the Kuzan. Sorry, I thought he swung at lead. He swung at Kuzan, and we're just going to actually take it. Kuzan now a 4K. And he's going to go ahead and put 2 on Frankie, swing 6k at Kuzan. We'll just block with Borsalino and give him a 1k. So just the power of Sabo there, guys. He swung 8, and I literally just didn't have to give him any cards out of hand. I just said, okay, activate leader effect, put him to 4. Obviously, he had that rusher, which made me have to give him a card afterwards, but still, just an amazing effect that cannot be understated. We're going to go 6 lead, attach 2 to Chaka, and go 8 lead. He'll give us a 2 and a 1, staying at that 1 life threshold. Think what to do. We will activate Mancherry here, as it doesn't really matter, as we can just attach that Restodon with Chaka anyways. We're going to grab another 2k, use Chaka effect to attach the Restodon to Sabo. And we will put 2 more and swing another 8 at lead. 1 Don up, but doesn't look like he has a counter event. He's going to have to take that. We'll put the rest on Garp, and that is going to be the game. Really decent match there, I think. Showed the power of Sabo and just the power of removing board and leaving them with not enough characters to remove yours. Again, if they do not have bottom decks or back to hands and they don't have board, Sabo just owns any deck. And entering our local finals here, we have someone that has been featured on the channel a few times by now. We are going up against Ren, probably one of the best players at our locals, on the Sakazuki. Going to be going first for him and second for me, fortunately. We're going to be putting him on 1. And he's going to go ahead and just activate leader effects, trashing the Suru. We'll have the brand new start, which is really good for us. Looks like we have between a Hina, Kuzan, or a Great Eruption. We're going to go ahead and grab the Kuzan for next turn. He's going to go ahead and swing 6 at lead. We will choose to take. And he will just do a brand new, grabbing a Suru. Oh no, grabbing something else. And then he will actually cycle the Suru, and we'll go ahead and swing 5 at lead on our turn. Just play the Kuzan. Obviously, we know it can be removed, but we do have another one in hand that we can just play. And also, if he does remove it, Kuzan did replace himself on play, so it's not that big a deal. He'll swing 5 at lead, -1 to the Kuzan, play a brand new, and grab a Great Eruption. Going to immediately use that Great Eruption, putting Kuzan down to 1, and Hound Blaze it to the bottom. Swinging 6 to lead with brand new, we'll just have to give him a 2k. Do not want to go too low too early. We knew that would happen, honestly. Just wanted to play a card that would basically, you know, minus out, right? You play Kuzan, you draw a card. He removes it for 2 cards there, right? It didn't technically cost us anything. Playing 1 for the Great Eruption here on the brand new. Getting that cycle out here. If we do have the Lucci, this is going to be great for us. Going to go 3 at brand new and 6 at lead. Thinking about it here, he's actually going to take that, making me think he probably doesn't have any 2Ks in hand, and we'll play that Lucci, bottom decking a Kobe and 2 Great Eruptions. And also, Lucci is now unkillable, but he does find the Borsalino. That is going to be the story of this matchup. If they see their blue cards in Sakazuki, guys, honestly, you are cooked. You need to hope they don't see a ton of blue cards and you are golden. But we're going to go ahead and play Kuzan and draw 1 and put 2 on Sabo. Swing 7 and play that brand new. So as you do have the Kuzan on board once again and 2 on lead, we're putting him on you need a KO effect to get rid of this card. Sorry, you need a bottom deck effect to get rid of this card. Because Sabo leader only protects against KOs, unfortunately. So if Sakazuki does see their blue bottom deck effects, which are usually only Hound Blaze and Borsalino, those are really the only ways they can get rid of your board consistently. He'll go 8 lead. We do have 2 2Ks in hand, but we're just going to go ahead and take that. He's going to go ahead and Hound Blaze the brand new, swing another 8 lead. We'll give him a pair of 2Ks there. And he will play another Borsalino, unfortunately. Seeing both of them, I think he might run 2. He could run more. Point is, he saw 2. And that is really all you need to see, as these bodies are now really difficult for us to remove consistently. We're going to go ahead and go 6 lead. He'll give us a 2K. We'll do the Rebecca Hina combo, minusing 4 to 1 of the Borsalinos. And we'll play the Monkey D. Garp, KOing it as it is now at 3 cost. So, in a great spot here now. You have 1 down on lead, you have a Rebecca blocker, and now 2 bodies on board that he can't really get rid of unless he has bottom deck effects, which makes this matchup really good. But obviously, He's been seeing the blue cards, unfortunately, so just hoping he doesn't see any more at this point, because we are in a great spot if he doesn't. Kind of going to cycle there, maybe searching for something that he didn't have already. He's going to go ahead and just play the Great Eruption, cycle again, minusing 1 to the Garp. Going to play another Great Eruption, putting Garp to 1 cost, and cycling again. So making it much, much more likely that he sees his blue cards. And yeah, there it is. Garp's to the bottom. Once again, leader effect completely being useless in this matchup, unfortunately. Gonna swing 8 at the Hina. Thinking about what to do here. Sorry, he swung 8 lead. We'll take the 8 lead, and then he will swing another 8 lead. And we will just end up blocking that. Now Hina's staying on board, fortunately for us. But he's going to go ahead and play the brand new searching top 3. Only one to grab there is Kuzan, so he will end up adding that to hand. And now with 4 Dawn remaining, your best play here is probably something like a Borsalino. Or possibly Rebecca, grab another 2K from trash. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and play that beautiful championship Borsalino. Pretty insane card. But yeah, now on 10 Dawn, not looking good, guys. We are only at 1 life. And his board is looking pretty menacing, pretty difficult to get rid of too, as we can't get rid of Borsalino with anything. We can only, the 4 costs that is. The 7 costs we can't get rid of if we have a cost reduction plus a Garp or something like that. But thinking about the turn pretty hard here, we're going to swing 5 to lead, as we already planned out our turn. Obviously we know he's probably just going to block for free, which he does. We'll swing 6 to lead, and he'll give us an easy 2K there. Playing the Garp, we're just going to KO the brand new, as that's our only target. And playing the Borsalino, kind of just hoping that he doesn't have a way to remove it. And with 3 cards in hand, I think they are all 2Ks. But realistically, if he can remove the Borsalino here, the game is over. So yeah, he's going to do Ice Age into another Hound Blaze. Fantastic. I think he saw all 4 Hound Blazes and both Borsalinos. And that is all she wrote. Gonna go 9 with lead. We'll just give him our whole hand, and yeah, that is gonna be the end of the game. So really unfortunate there, but yeah. And that is going to be all, folks. Thank you for sticking through the video with me. As far as Sabo goes, at the end of the day, honestly, the deck is not tier 1. The deck is not a Sakazuki counter. You can hope they don't draw their blue cards, but at the end of the day, it's Sakazuki, and they're going to draw what they need to draw, since for an average Sakazuki match, they usually see half of their deck or more with the cycle effect alone. So I wish it would be good against that matchup if it was a bit less consistent in their draws, maybe, but unfortunately, no. But for a lot of other decks, like Red Purple Luffy in the video, that don't have a lot of bodies to swing with, I think this deck is in a really good spot. I'd even go as far as to put it into tier 2. I think just the black build in general is a lot better than the full out red rush that I've seen a lot of people run, because it's just too expensive. Like if I want to play a 5 cost rush Luffy, and that's my whole game plan, in order to swing with Luffy and also have leader effect online, that is 6 Dawn minimum. That's more than half my turn, and even then I'm only swinging 6 with Luffy and 6 with leader. So I think the black route is just a lot, it's the way to go with this deck. You basically limit the bodies they have on board, and you block her up, and basically you make it so they only have leader swing or a few swings, and you really don't need to worry about it, because you just get free blocks and you don't have to use counter out of hand. That is the way I went with this deck, and I think that's probably the best way to go. Shout out to Vampire Gaming once again. He is the one who gave me the idea to go the all-black route in the first place. He does run a bit of a different list, so I will definitely link that in the description, as we said at the start of the video. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have not checked out the community poll for next week, it looks like Blue Purple Kaido is winning. So if you are a Kaido fan, we have a really spicy deck cooked up for you, so look forward to that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and you have a great day. Peace.